Hey, perfect. Okay.
We are on officially.
Hello, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. All things considered, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Great. I've missed this. I've missed us. I've missed hearing Black people talk about tennis. And so it feels good to be back.
I have to say, it does feel good to be back, but I'm like, what do we talk about? Because I've been watching the tenny, but there's not a lot to write home about, honestly.
Do you think tennis is currently in a slump?
I think so. I think it's tennis can be really exciting, and this right here, right now, is not one of those exciting times.
Hot take. But honestly, I think I agree with you. I think there are moments and people who are making it exciting, but for some reason, it feels a little sad.
Yeah, it does. It does. It feels like you're right. There are people who are having great moments right now. And those people, they're making the game kind of exciting to watch. But all in all, it doesn't feel like, honestly, it doesn't feel like how it felt last year. I feel like last year was a more exciting year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I I don't know what that's about, but I think in this episode we should sort of like unpack that as everybody says and try to get to the heart of it. And I wonder if people listening to this who watch tennis regularly would agree with that. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You have got to be kidding.
Electrifying the crowd. Oh, it's incredible. What a way to win it.
Those who thought we were putting water on my fire, you're really adding gas to it. And now I'm really burning so bright right now.
My name's Nafisa.
And my name's Jay.
And we are twins who like tennis. This podcast is a good rally. And it's a tennis podcast that centers Black and brown players, women players, and really gets into the nuances of tennis that otherwise may not be thought about or talked about. So thank y'all for joining another episode of the podcast. Yeah.
I feel a little rusty, actually. It's been a really long time since we recorded. It
I
is
know.
April, the end of April, and we haven't recorded since January, a season ago.
Yeah, so I bet a bit has happened since we last recorded. Maddie Keys won the Australian Open. Shout
Claps.
out. Um, damn, has that been no? I was gonna say, is that the only highlight? No, Maddie Keys won Australian. Iga Swiatek was dethroned as world number 1 on the women's
Yeah.
side. Yannick is out. A post doping incident, and Zverev is men's number 1
Oh my God. Well, yeah, he is for maybe like a couple more weeks.
for now.
Yeah, Miami Open happened, Indian Wells happened, a couple of smaller tournaments happened. We are currently in the throes of Madrid. Lots of things to talk about, but nothing too exciting. Maybe I think I'm just feeling it right now because currently Carlos is injured. And everyone who listens to this podcast, if you don't know by now, Carlos Alcaraz is my favorite player. And so I have very little to look forward to, honestly.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I'm loving the game, but less interested right now because, yeah, all of my faves are doing okay. Naomi is getting back into the swing of things, and we've witnessed the challenges there. She's my absolute favorite player. Coco's doing okay, but she just dropped in the rankings from number 3 in the world to number 4. Francis is doing okay. Hasn't picked up a title in a minute.
Can barely get past the second round of tournament.
Yeah. I feel like in terms of me, my favorite people, They're all doing okay. Arthur Feast is doing well, and Gail Monfils is doing pretty well, but they've experienced injuries recently. So, well, in terms of Gail, he was sick. That's why he's pulled out of Madrid. But it's like, okay, well, who's who's next?
Yeah. Well, I will say a person who seems to be doing pretty well after a series of losses at the beginning of the year, or I will say after the Australian Open, Ben Shelton. And he is our first topic of conversation for this episode, actually, because his life is looking kind of nice right now, I will say.
His life, yeah, no, legit, his life on and off the court.
Yeah, Ben Shelton has a new girlfriend. He has new deals. Thorne is sliding money into his pocket. He's like in commercials. He just made the finals of Munich, the ATP 500 clay tournament that happens in Germany. You know, not a bad life. Not a bad life at all.
That's true. And it was so interesting because when he won in the semis in Munich, um, the courtside commentator was like, "How does it feel to be the first American man to make it to an ATP 500 clay final?" And he was like, "No, that's not true." But it is true, and that's cool. Because I will say this about Ben Shelton: I don't think his game has reached its peak,
No,
but he is quite talented and promising in a way that I think a lot of people who detest him because of his confidence try to say that he has peaked. But I listened to him in an interview with Prakash the other day, and he was just talking about like playing on clay allows him to learn, and like win or lose, it's about learning. And I think that's such a great mentality for someone in this game and for someone as they improve. Cause I don't think this is his highest. He has the serve, but I think his overall game is going to get so much better.
I agree. I don't think he's reached his peak at all. I think I can confidently say Ben Shelton is one of the players that since we started really getting into tennis, I have seen him grow by leaps and bounds. When I first started watching Ben Shelton play, he couldn't serve and volley for shit. And now he's really good at it. Like they describe his playing style as all court, and I never saw that for him. I thought he was a good power player. I thought he was good at the baseline, but he comes up to the net and he delivers. I'm very shocked by it.
Yeah,
No,
because
no tea, no shade. Actually, that sounded really shady, but I would like to retract the shade and give him his props for real.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's shady. I think that's fair to say. Like, because you meet so many people in life, and not just this sport, but like so many like young early 20s male athletes who are hotheads, and like you're like, okay, like you're confident, but will your game get better? And for some of them the answer is no. But for him to really like work at it and like back up that confidence and be like, yeah, I'm going to work at what I'm not good at, like the serve is there, but then he'll be like, I don't want to be a serve bot, I want to be an actual good player. So that's really sick to see. Shout out to him.
Yeah, a lot of players don't have the humility to work on a thing that they know that they're bad at. And he did. So shout out to him and shout out to his dad because I know his dad was like, you're working on this.
Yeah, like a black dad would.
Exactly.
I think that he might be the first American man to win a Grand Slam upcoming of the new crop. I
Oh,
think
you
it's
mean
gonna
on
be
the
him.
tournament right now?
Yes, because you
Active
know,
players.
yeah, the last American man to win a Grand Slam was pop quiz. Do you know this?
The last American man to win a Grand Slam period?
Yes.
Roddick.
Yes. So it's been a really long time, and that was 20 years ago. So we need another one, and I think it's him.
That's a hot take, I think.
I
I
know.
mean, I will support that because I love a hot take and I want it to be Ben Shelton. Now, realistically speaking, I do feel like it's going to be Taylor Fritz. He makes it really far in these tournaments if he's at 100%. And that, honestly, I'd say that's undeniable. And a person who has created a nickname for himself when he's playing on clay, Clayler Fritz. He has intentions to take it far. I hate that nickname. I don't really enjoy Taylor's playing style because he looks like Gumby on the court. But I think Ben does have stiff competition if he wants to be the best American player right now.
That's fair. But Taylor Fritz, I'm not calling him that nickname. If it sounds like it sounds like his movements very awkward. And so I will not be calling him that. He could keep that. And I think you're right. He is ranked number 4. That's got weight to it. But is he a closer?
No, he's not actually because he's choked. US Open final last year, he choked. He was trying to get to the final in Miami this year. He choked. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I I see it for him, but then I also don't see it for him. Like he's always just so close. And maybe that's what he goes down in the history books as a player, an American male who was just always this close. Maybe.
Maybe. I think we'll come back to this conversation when Ben Shelton makes it to a 1000 level or a Grand Slam final, and then we'll be able to say if Ben is a closer or a choker.
That's true.
That felt so hurtful coming out of my mouth, calling him a closer or a choker, but it is fact.
The possibilities are there. They're both possible.
Yeah.
What else is happening in Ben's life that we should be talking about that everybody's pretty much talking about?
Ben's got a girlfriend. Ben's got a girlfriend. A biracial, beautiful woman named Trinity motherfucking Rodman. Okay? No introduction needed. A US women's soccer star who now plays for, I want to say, the Washington Mystics. But I'm sorry if I butchered the team that she currently plays for.
Washington Spirit.
Damn. Okay, let me do that again. Trinity Rodman, no intro needed, U.S. women's soccer star or football star, depending where in the world you're listening to this, who plays for the Washington Spirit in women's Major League Soccer. Shout out to her. Equally talented, hotter than him, and he's lucky to have her.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, it feels like that. Now, I want to say I don't know these people. They look good together, you know. They look good together. And they're the same age, which is nice. They're both kids. They're 22. It's very sweet. It's very cute. And she made her box debut in Germany. That was so nice to see because when you sit in the box, it feels like you're official. It feels like the commentators are about to start talking about you.
Yeah, and that feels scary, bro. Like, you have a camera on you, and you know the camera's gonna zoom in on you. Because, oh, there's this new person in Ben Shelton's flare box. Who could it be?
Yeah.
And then having to sit there behind his parents. There is already so much anxiety that comes with being around your partner's parents, and then to be on camera right behind them. She is braver than the armed forces. It is a feat. And then to be talented in your own right. Good for her.
That's true. We do love that. A woman who has her own shit going on. Yeah, she's been on the tour with him. Went from Germany, from Munich to now they're playing in Madrid and she's in the box. And that's really nice to see.
Yeah, that is really good to see.
Now, unfortunately, Ben took an L literally earlier today. So he's out of Madrid, but I think he'll make a strong showing in Rome and at Roland Garros.
Yeah, I think Roland Garros is going to be exciting for him. I can't even predict how far he'll go. But based on how he's playing on clay so far, I hope that this will be his best Roland Garros showing so far.
I think it will be. I have really high hopes for Big Ben.
Shout out Ben. Keep it up. Someone's got to do it, and I'm glad it's you.
Yeah. Should we talk next about another rising star who's kind of young but making headlines on the tour?
Yeah, man. The black and brown people who play professional tennis, their shoulders must be so heavy because they are really holding this game up, making it entertaining and less predictable for the most part. There are some players that are not black or brown who are putting in the work. But I have to say, amongst the PLC players who are doing a lot, Alex Iala, the new girl on the scene, 19 years old, and has seemingly overnight, but not really because it's taken years of work, gone from being a wild card player to making history as the highest ranked Filipina player. That is a tongue twister. In WTA history, she's currently ranked at number 72. I have no doubt that she's gonna jump up in the rankings. But even ranking in the top 100 is sick
It
and
really is.
cool.
It is quite the accomplishment. And for those who don't know or haven't seen, Alex Iala's ranking jumped that high because she managed to make it to the semifinals at the Miami Open this year. She beat out Iga. She gave Jess Pegula a hell of a run, but ultimately that was where she ended her. That was the last stop on the Miami Open tour for Iala. But she had a hell of a run. It was such good tennis. It was really great to see.
Yeah, and on her way to the semis where Jess beat her, she beat Yelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek. Imagine that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, and this goes for her and Ben Shelton to a degree. Like their game right now isn't as tight as like say like a Carlos or like an Iga, but the foundation is so strong that you can only think about the future of this player. Like with the foundation that solid, this is a person hopefully with injury like limited injuries, this is a person who's going to go really far and achieve like really great things. So yeah, imagine knocking out 3 people who are in the top 10 or were in the top 10 and then getting to the semis. That's sick. I can't wait to see. She's actually out in Madrid too, but I can't wait to see what happens with her.
Yeah, Iga got her revenge and took her out of Madrid.
And it took Iga 3 sets to do it.
It did take Iga 3 sets, which is a great sign for Iala.
Right. Like Alex Iala is such a fighter. That's why I love watching her matches. The only thing I will say is if her serve, especially her second serve, improved, well, when it improves, she's going to be a killer.
I agree, because currently critics are saying that serve fucking sucks. And they're not wrong. It's slow. You can see it coming from 2 miles away.
Yeah, girl. It's a very polite serve. And if she for clay specifically, if she learns how to slide on the clay, because in her match with Iga, there was no sliding. So you have to run to the ball, which slows you down further. Clay is already a slow surface. So if you're running to get the ball, you can't slide into the volley, then that takes away. But if she gets down sliding in and out, up and down, and gets to a strong serve, cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, hell of a player. I wish the best for her.
Good luck, Alex. We're rooting for you, girl. We're all rooting for you.
Now, are we rooting for the number 1 ranked player on the ATP Tour, who has been out for 3 months but is making his highly anticipated return at the Italian Open? Yannick Sinner is coming back. And do you think he's coming back for everything that is his, or do you think it will be a slow start for our Carrot Top?
First of all, let me just commend you on that segue. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Somebody had to do it, and I'm glad it was you because I was not getting there. And a great question. Yannick Sinner, doping aside,
Hold the dope now. Hold the dope.
is a great player, exceptional player.
He is. He's a machine.
Will there be some adjustments coming back after the suspension? Honestly, I don't think there will be.
Really?
No, I don't. Well, first of all, his suspension wasn't long enough. It's 3 months. It's like the amount of time tennis players should have as a break at
That's
the
true.
end after the US Open and then come back. But I think he just started practicing this month. We're in April. And I think he is ready. I think 3 months isn't even enough time for him to be unready. I think
For me, it feels like if you're going to the gym every day and then you take 3 months off, I feel like there is an adjustment period, right? Like your body is not used to, your body is like, wait a minute now. We've been vacationing for 3 months now. Like the muscle memory is probably gone a little bit.
well that is true and fair. But I will say I don't think someone like him or his team has been completely sedentary for those 3 months. Like
That's fair.
it'd be different if like you went to the gym and then you stopped for 3 months and you did nothing. But I think he's just been like, yeah, he hasn't been able to do anything officially, but I don't think he's missed a day on a tennis court somewhere.
Right. Like the rule is that he can't play tennis publicly. I'm
Mhm.
sure he knows a bunch of people with private courts.
Right. I'm sure at his tax haven of a house in Monaco, he has a tennis court and he's just been practicing at home privately.
Wait, does he have a home in Monaco?
Yeah, he does.
He does? I never knew that.
Tax haven, baby.
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. I'll
Yes.
probably take Roland Garros.
Imagine, I would be devastated.
I
That
would
would
be too. That is Carlos's tournament for me.
that would piss me off for real. And then unfortunately, I would not be able to root for him for the rest of the year because I'd be so mad.
No, that's fair. That is very fair. I don't think that he's going anywhere anytime soon, though. I think even if it takes him a while to bounce back, that won't affect his ranking. He's like 3,000 plus points ahead of Zverev, who's number 2.
Yeah, yeah. But I will say I am gonna be a little sad that Yannick's back because there's like you're saying, there's no contesting who's number one. And that seems boring to me.
I agree.
I prefer more of a fight like weekly where it's jumping up, jumping down, jumping up, jumping down. But when you have someone who's just clearly on the throne, both on the men's and women's side, I'm like, I appreciate your playing style. I appreciate your athleticism and how good you are, but I just can't root for you
Yeah.
actively.
Yeah. Make it a competition and make it a fierce one.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see him at the Italian Open on May 7th.
Yeah,
And
that
we'll
home
put
court
these theories to the
advantage,
test. Right.
that,
Right.
that home court advantage is going to be intense.
Right. There's that too. Like you're making a comeback on home soil, like where you're from. I think he's gonna go pretty far.
Yeah. That crowd is carrying him on their back all the way to the final. They
Right.
haven't seen him in 3 months. Yeah. He's
Yannick,
making the
we've
final.
missed you. We've missed you. Yes. Yeah, he's making the final. It's gonna be about who's on the other side of the court.
Yeah. To be continued.
Okay. I don't have no I was gonna say I don't have any cute segues, but I can let me put myself to the test.
Now, don't force it.
I know you're right. Speaking of who could be on the other side of the court, what if that person is Novak?
That was a good segue.
Thank you. I learned from the best quickly.
That was good.
How would you feel?
Not surprised, honestly. I think in private conversation, and Nafisa and I have had this conversation multiple times over the past few months. Controversially, I think Novak is faking it. He has been eliminated in round one of the past two tournaments, Monte Carlo and now Madrid. And I don't think that that is by chance. Now, I'm not saying that his opponents aren't great players. They are, and they absolutely deserve their victories. Tabilo knocked him out in Monte Carlo, and Arnaldi just took him out in Madrid. Now, I'm not saying they're not talented, but Novak is a mastermind. he is a psychopath, a sociopath. And I think that Novak is playing these tournaments because he has to, and he doesn't want to get fined. But ultimately, Novak's big goal and desire is to have his 100th title, which is the next thing that he wins. I think he wants it to be a Grand Slam. And obviously, he's going to go for it at Roland Garros. And then if he doesn't get it there, he's going for it at Wimbledon, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's been upfront and honest about prioritizing Roland Garros over the 1000 level clay tournaments. So he's just like Roland Garros, Roland Garros, Roland Garros. But him losing in the first round of these tournaments, it's either he is aging rapidly,
Yes.
like very rapidly, or he is phoning it in and preserving energy and effort for the big time. For number 25 Grand Slam at Roland Garros. What do I think is true? I think he's an undercover theater kid who is putting on show after show, losing in the first round and then going to relax and be like, okay, my energy is saved for the French Open. Saved for the French Open. Why? Because when you think about it, I thought about this last night. I was stoned and comfy. I was like, if you're prioritizing your next title being your 25th Grand Slam, why would you put any effort into a 1000 level Masters tournament?
Literally, why would you?
Like, there's no point because you need to preserve energy. You need to make sure you go into Roland Garros healthy. So what's the point of going into the second or third round, quarterfinals, etc.? I would be out too. I would make it look like I'm struggling just so that people aren't like, oh, he's phoning it in. But I would be out. Maybe that's his game plan. That's what I think. Now, don't sue me for libel. But I think he's doing it on purpose.
Honestly, I think you're right. Like, if you compare Novak's 2024 to Novak's 2025, I don't see how a body can deteriorate that quickly. He was on top of the world in 2025. He made multiple semifinals. He made the quarterfinals of the French Open. Wimbledon, we all know he made the final where he got whipped by Carlos. US Open, he made it to the third round. Like, he had really good results last year. And then we saw Novak sort of partying for a couple of months and just being in the club, literally. And then he comes back and we're like, what is going to happen here? Like, now the stakes are higher than they've ever been, right? Because now Novak is really trying to cement himself as the GOAT. He already has the most Grand Slam titles, the most 1000s titles, not on clay. Shout out to Nadal. He is in the history books, but I think he's just really reevaluating what he wants out of tennis and whether it's like his main priority. I don't think your average tournament is something that Novak even cares about anymore. Not at all.
Yeah, because he's already won it.
Yeah, he's done it all. I think it's Grand Slams or nothing for him. And I guess
so too.
I think that's fine at his age too, right? Like, he's 37, he doesn't have many years left. And if I'm the greatest of all time and I want results, I would wait for a Grand Slam to be like, this is when I put my foot on the gas.
Right, because
I get it.
Yeah, I do too. Because, like, who's checking for anything beyond a Grand Slam at his age. It's like when you talk about Novak and you talk about him being the GOAT, the reason he is the GOAT is because of the number of Grand Slams he's won and the fact that he could win a 25th. He could win a 26. But if he's going to do that and really cement himself and distance himself from Federer, from Nadal, and from Serena, then it's all about Grand Slam numbers. Nothing else matters.
Yeah. I do wonder if Novak does all of this work. Let's say he does win a 25th or maybe even a 26th Grand Slam. And 10 to 15 years from now, I wonder if all of his hard work will pay off. Or will people just be talking about him in terms of stats? I don't know if Novak is the type of person that people will be saying, oh, he was such a great player. Like he had a great personality on the court. Like he's just someone that's like memorable for more than just the numbers. I don't know, honestly, because Novak, he's polarizing. I look forward to seeing what the history books have to say about him.
That's true. I do too. That's going to be really interesting because, yeah, it could just be his record could just be a number that somebody else has to surpass, and maybe somebody else will one day. But yeah, I'm really happy that I get to witness these last years of Novak's career and then witness the post Novak tennis world and see how it plays out. And then I also think that it's interesting, and we shouldn't count out his competition. Who's to say that he'll get to 25 or 26 or anything beyond 24? You have players who are good and want to beat him because he is the person to beat. It doesn't matter that he's number 4 in the world. He is the person to beat based off of how long he's been playing and based off of, his records now. So he could spend the rest of his career trying to get that Grand Slam title and actually not getting it.
That's true. That's very true. I would like to correct you though. Novak is not number 4 in the world.
What's his
is
ranking?
He's number 5.
Oh, who's number 4? Oh, Taylor Fritz is number 4.
Yep. Now, I will say the number 1 spot, the WTA and the ATP has been consistent, but everybody else, the rankings have been like this. Especially since the turn of Iga, the turning of the tide of Iga Swiatek. It just feels like almost anything can happen except someone taking that number 1 spot from Sinner or Sabalenka.
And that is like, I just like seeing people dethroned. I legitimately don't care who you are, except if you're Coco. Then I'd be upset.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the exciting things that are happening within the rankings right now in tennis.
Okay.
What's the most exciting thing that's happening to you in terms of the rankings?
For me, it's Arthur Fils and his ascension. And I don't actually know what his ranking is as of today, April 27th, but he's playing really good tennis. And watching him and Carlos have their first head-to-head at... Where did they have their first head-to-head? It was very recently.
Monte Carlo.
Yes, at Monte Carlo. That was great because I was like, whoa, this is actually a player who is on the same playing level, in my opinion, as Carlos. Really made him fight and work for that win. And I could tell, or maybe I'm projecting, but it looked to me like there's a sense of mutual respect in each other's game. And that's just really exciting to see. Fils, he didn't come out of nowhere, but how he's been playing recently makes it feel like he's had, because he's like jumping up in rankings, putting on shows and like winning over people that you'd expect to beat him, and really making his presence known in tennis right now.
Yeah, it's true. Arthur Fils has made at least the quarterfinals of every 1000s tournament this year. Who else can say that? Honestly, nobody.
You know, you gotta give him the props. You have to. That's a hard fucking job, and somebody's gotta do it. Shout out to Arthur Fils, his African dad on the sidelines.
Being an African dad.
Being an African ass dad. And I love to see that. Listen, he ain't never miss a match. Hello.
No, his dad is the best in the box.
Shout out Jean Philippe. Personality, coaching. I don't know if he coaches him, but it looks like he does.
It
The way
definitely
he
feels
be
like he does.
screaming and fist pumping. Love his dad. Love him. Very excited to see what happens to him and how far he goes.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a good year. He is very much so one of those players that's close, and I think he'll get to the finish line. He'll get to where he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
100%. He has the talent. He has the potential. He has the drive and the determination also.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll have to run this back like a couple years from now to compare where he is in the future to currently. That'll be fun.
Right. Right. I will say his current singles ranking is number 14, which is not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. I think he makes the top 10 this year.
Ooh, that would be so exciting.
I'm calling that right now. He makes the top.
I like that call.
Yeah. Next up on the women's side, I just want to quickly talk about her because I didn't see this coming. Jess Pegula being number 3 in the rankings after my girl Coco was number 3 forever.
You know what single-handedly did it?
The Miami Open.
No, it wasn't even an event. You know what single-handedly bumped Jess up to 3 is Coco's serve.
Yes, that serve is garbage. I love my girl so bad, but that serve is the reason she's slipping.
I think that her serve is the only flaw in her game. Imagine if she got that, if she improved upon that, unstoppable. There were only 2 things that stopped Coco Gauff from being number 1 in the world, and neither of them are Arena Sabalenka. Number 1 is her serve. Number 2 is Iga. Their head-to-head record, I think they played each other 10 times, and Coco's only won twice. Iga is like a wall for Coco. If she can improve her serve, decrease her double faults, and beat Iga, Coco Gauff can and will be the number 1 women's player in the world. And I think it is possible, and she has so much time and opportunity to do it.
I agree. Their head-to-head is not looking very pretty, actually. They've played 14 matches altogether. Iga's won 11. Coco's won 3.
Okay, sorry, Coco. I gave you 1 less than the truth. So 3 matches. Okay. Speaking of Iga, though, just very quickly, I do want to talk briefly about something that is fucking exciting in tennis, which is Iga being number 2 in the world, and yet her head-to-head with Yelena Ostapenko is completely one-sided.
Oh, this is the craziest thing in the WTA for me.
I love a good rivalry where you have someone who is just oscillating between number 1 and number 2 in the world, yet they cannot beat this one player.
Yeah, Iga Swiatek and Yelena Ostapenko, they've played each other 6 times, and Iga has won 0 of those times.
Imagine that. Someone who's just one of the best players ever to step foot on a tennis court, and she can't beat you? Listen, nobody would be able to tell me if I was Yelena Ostapenko. I don't care. I could be ranked 1,335 in the world, but having 6-0 versus Iga Swiatek.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know how Ostapenko does it. She's managed to beat Iga on multiple surfaces too, and Iga never overcomes her. I think Iga is very much so a player. She's a mental player, right? Like she gets in her head as she's playing, and I think Ostapenko is the one player on the circuit that as soon as they step on the court, Iga's already in her head.
Mm-hmm. It's so fascinating to watch because Iga's not really an emotional player, like
No.
very rarely. But the way she be gagged by her, like
Yeah.
shaken to her core.
Yeah, I very rarely see Iga crash out, but I've seen her crash out twice this year. The first time was in Miami when Iala beat her. The second
Mhm.
time was in Stuttgart when Ostapenko demolished her in 3 sets.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime they play each other, I'm sad. I have to see it. And if Iga ever beats her, I'll be a little sad. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Yeah, it would be the end of an era that I've quite enjoyed. And
Yeah.
nothing like something or someone to really humble you in the sport.
Right? We all need that, especially tennis players.
Yeah. What Iga is to Coco, Ostapenko is to Iga. And
For
that's
sure.
balance.
Hello. Okay, what player are we talking about next?
I don't have any other rankings updates that I'm excited about, but I know that you wanted to talk about Naomi Osaka.
Oh, had to do a moment of silence. Naomi Osaka is having, I don't want to say tough. I'll just say she's having a time getting back into tennis. I think she did what was right for her by leaving the sport, taking care of her mental health, having a precious little baby, and rightfully so. Coming back to that sport after that can be difficult. It's interesting to watch her return. And I think that she has higher expectations about where she'd be this far into her return. I don't know if that's fair for her to judge herself in that way because it'll take however long it takes. And I know that she's made comments where she's been like, yeah, if I don't start seeing the results that I predicted for myself, that I want for myself, then it doesn't make sense for me to stick around. But she was great at one point, so I think she can get there again. But I think she has to be patient with herself and her team and just keep going.
I agree with you. I think the thing that is difficult for Naomi Osaka is the fact that she was the best in the world at one time.
Mhm.
And I can't imagine being that high on the pedestal and quote unquote falling.
Mhm.
And I think because she is the only person that like as spectators we don't know the feeling, as her coach Patrick doesn't know the feeling. She's the only one that knows what she is capable of. Like she's like I have won grand slams. I have been at the top of the game. I have beaten Serena Williams. How is that person the same as this person? The person who honestly sometimes doesn't make it past the first round of a tournament. I think there is an internal battle and war and storm happening that a lot of us, I don't think any of us can really like wrap our heads around in the way that she can. So her saying that stuff doesn't really surprise me. If you want to be the greatest, it sucks to not be the greatest.
Mhm.
And so it hurts to hear because I think we all know Naomi Osaka's potential. But I do think if she just allowed herself to play the game and to enjoy the game without the expectation of being great, then I think she would be great again. I think it really is about clearing the mind and being as present as possible. I think she'll get there one day, but I don't think she's there yet.
Yeah, I also think that she'll get there again because she's been there. Like to go from playing as a child to being really good as a pro player, that sort of journey is more like this, where like there are ebbs and flows, but you're going up. But then to take that break and then realize that you've dropped so far down, it's going to take the same amount of ebbs and flows, but like a steady incline because you've been there before. What I think has to happen is that there has to be a bit of the death of ego just because you were the best women's player in the world, the best player in the world, that has nothing to do with now. You can get back to where you were, but focus on the now, like ignore who you were then because that's not even the same person, externally or internally. Who are you now? And she's mentioned like how being a parent and taking the time off has made her a better person. So with that in hand, I think she can be even better than she was before because you have the additional perspective of being a mom, being someone who prioritizes their life outside of tennis. So I think it's the best of both worlds in that sense, where it's like, okay, I'm a great tennis player and I'm a well-rounded person who has like a kid who inspires me and like motivates me. I think she has no idea how good she's going to be just yet. If Belinda Bencic can come off maternity leave and play as well as she's playing, and commentators would be like, "Damn, she's playing really well. Like this is some of the best tennis she's ever played." I think the same thing can happen for Naomi.
I think you make a really great point in saying that she can be greater than she was. I don't even think that that is something that she has considered. And I think if she were to adopt that mentality and just let herself play and be free on the court, who's to say? Who's to say what would happen? Maybe the fifth Grand Slam. Maybe she'd take the chip for the fifth time.
And I see it for her. She's only 25, 26. Like Maddie Keys didn't win her first Grand Slam until she was 30.
This is true. Oh, Naomi Osaka is 27.
27. Still has so much time. Jasmine Paolini wasn't in the top 10 until she was 27.
Right.
28.
Right.
So, yeah, just giving herself time. I'm saying all of this, one, because I love Naomi, and two, if anyone who knows her ever listens to this podcast, I am pleading with her to not leave tennis. It would be so heartbreaking.
She just has a really great personality and a presence that I do think that tennis needs. She's so uniquely her. I think she's different from a lot of people on the tour right now, and the WTA would be at a loss if she stopped playing, honestly.
Yeah. And honestly, more personally, I think black and brown girls will be at a loss.
I think so too. There aren't many players in the circuit that black and brown girls can look up to. Black and brown boys don't have that either. Like,
yeah.
And so a loss is tremendous within the community. So I think, and to sound completely selfish, I do think that she should stick it out because I think there's so much left within her story. And it would be a shame if we didn't get to see that.
For sure. I agree 100%.
Well, sad note to end it on, but like full of possibilities at the same time.
That's true. But I also have a happy note to end it on because as you know, and as I introduced in our last episode, I'm ending it with a black tennis fact.
Nice.
Today's black tennis fact. Let me do that again. Today's black tennis fact subject, rather, is none other than Althea Gibson.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you. I wanted to point out Althea Gibson as the first black player, period, men or women, to win a Grand Slam and to also cross the color barrier, as they say, and become a black professional tennis player. The first Grand Slam that she won was actually the French Open, and she went on to win, let me get her stats right, she went on to win 5 Grand Slams. That's a feat for anyone, but imagine being the only black person at the time.
Right.
Like, you're the only black person in this professional sport. And along with that comes, but let's say it out loud for anyone listening. Along with being the only black person in anything, it comes with like ridicule, racism, mental abuse.
Microaggressions, macroaggressions.
Right. And then still having to be on top of your game. So it's like you can't even just focus on the trials and tribulations that come with being a professional tennis player. You also are subjected and reminded of your blackness on and off the court, which is another battle in and of itself. So to have somebody handle that, and not only handle it but excel in spite of it and win 5 grand slams, that's a goat. That's my goat. That's my tennis goat. Because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have had a Serena. We wouldn't have even had an Arthur Ashe. Like, it was her first, and that's really cool.
Yeah, we all stand on the shoulders of Althea Gibson, 100%.
Hello. And also, if you're ever at the Credit One Open in South Carolina and you're in her stadium, the Althea Gibson Stadium, pour one out in a not a literal sense, a metaphorical sense, but just take stock of the name and yeah, try to bask in that in her accomplishments, no matter if you're black or not black, because yeah, she did the thing.
The one and not the two.
Hello. Okay. That's a better note to end the show on.
That really is quite the 180. I like
Thank
that. I like
you.
that. I like
Thank
that. We
you.
did that. Yeah. Okay, so what's next up for us? I guess we're just waiting for, we're waiting for Rome. We won't be around for Rome, but we hope y'all enjoy it. But
Mhm.
then we'll be around for Roland Garros, and that'll be really fun for everybody.
Yeah, the one thing about this podcast for us is that we have full-time jobs, which makes it really hard to work and live our lives and do the podcast. And so the cadence of this podcast shifts and changes. But yeah, we will be around for Roland Garros, whether that's during or after. But it will be the 1 year anniversary of this podcast.
Oh my gosh, it will be. Wow.
So we'll do something special.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a guest.
Maybe.
To be continued. That's all we got, y'all. Another episode in the books. We hope to see y'all soon. Until then, enjoy tennis, enjoy your players, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.